In the days since that audio leaked, the former president has claimed all sorts of things, like he was not showing off military plans. No, of course not. Not on that tape. What you heard was him waving around plans for new buildings and golf courses and newspaper clippings. But according to a passage from Meadows' memoir, Trump did discuss Iran attack plans while being interviewed for the book. And in it, Meadows wrote, quote, "The president recalls a 4-page report typed up by Mark Milley himself. It contained the general's own plan to attack Iran, deploying massive numbers of troops, something he urged President Trump to do more than once during his presidency." Willie, this is so painful. I mean, you could see when Trump was trying to explain this away with an interview to Fox, I believe, that he was like, it was golf plans, it was my pants, it was my shirts. You could hear the papers rustling. I mean, that was literally him trying to buy time to think of an excuse. This is in the book. And remember, if this is in the indictment, chances are the people who were in that room, including the sycophants who couldn't say, "Mr. President, please put away classified documents. And why are they here?" All of those people potentially interviewed.
Yeah, and this memoir from Mark Meadows provides corroboration, one would think, for Jack Smith in the special counsel's office, where he says in the memoir explicitly this is a 4-page attack plan prepared by General Milley and presented to Donald Trump, exactly like the one he appears to be describing on that audio tape. And Rev, when you listen to these explanations from Donald Trump, he's sort of painting himself as a martyr. "I'm getting indicted for you," he's saying to his crowds, and just hoping that they buy the explanation that this is all part of a greater witch hunt, that this is all because they don't want him to be in the White House again, they being the Justice Department, they being the FBI, they being the special counsel. It remains to be seen if that passes outside of his group of close followers who seem to buy anything he presents them.
Well, inside that small group, they want to buy it. I mean, he plays into something that's already in them. But I think in terms of the expanded body of people that he's shooting for, it becomes more and more difficult when his own chief of staff's memoirs say he does do what this tape says he did, and they caught him on tape. I mean, it doesn't even really make sense. Why would you have building plans in your hand while you're talking about Milley saying that we ought to give more troops to Iran? It just does. It's totally inconceivable unless you want to make that something. And Mika makes a good point. People that gave the tape are going to likely testify at Donald Trump's trial. And they will say, this is what he said, this is what he showed. We never talked about golf courts or buildings. And who's going to refute that? Is Donald Trump going to take the stand? Because the only one that can get on the stand and contradict that is Donald Trump. And if he does that, then they need to get the handcuffs ready because they will kill him in a cross-examination.
Yeah, if he ever got on the stand, seems unlikely, but perhaps we'll see. He might want to go defend himself. Jen Palmieri, perhaps the obvious explanation for these increasingly absurd explanations from Donald Trump of what was in his hand is because there's no good argument. There's no defense for it. So you have to just throw stuff out there, hope it gets caught up in the fog machine of misinformation, and that enough people buy what you're saying to not see the truth that he explicitly describes on the tape a Defense Department document in his hand.
Yeah, and he says, I just happen to have it here in the pile of papers. And there's a few things. I think there's a few notable things going on with this particular situation. One, I am surprised that he got so defensive and felt the need to try to explain away what he said, as opposed to having bravado in his response, as well as what he said he did on the tape to say, just to say, as he has said before, like. It's my right. I had these things, but to be so defensive and changing his story and obviously formulating his response in real time as he's speaking, settling on plans and then moving from talking about plans that maybe it's about his golf plans or his house plans. The second thing I think is worth noting, this is the second time we have heard audio of him talking about a Mark Milley memo, right? So imagine we just happen to have learned about these audio tapes. Imagine how many more the prosecutor may have, right? This could just be the tip of the iceberg. And also, it's interesting to think about, why are we hearing these audio tapes? Who's releasing them? It could be Mark Meadows. It could be Meadows' staff. It could be the prosecutors thinking it's good for people to see we have a strong case. And there's a lot of people who have access to this tape, so no one's going to think maybe it was the prosecutors. But it's also worth considering why these tapes are getting out into the public.
Yeah, and how they're getting out there. And again, this was a group of ghostwriters for Mark Meadows' memoir sitting in the room. That's who you're hearing on that tape, along with Donald Trump and a staff member.